I read through the lessons because there's just so much to know. When you come down here, you look at family tree updates. It talks about the forged connections. You have to have some type of familial relationship. You can't just forge connections between people that have no family connected at all. They have to have at least one family connection. Example, when forging a connection between a fake grandparent and their fake grandchild, you'll need to ensure that there's a parent in between to link them. This is something that I did when the game, I had to bring in my families through the gallery from a different profile that I had before this one. And I thought they would have just came in with their family ties tied, but they didn't. I don't know why. They didn't tie themselves into family when they were in separate households. So Melissa, the Montrese, my first ever Sims family, she had a relative of some nature who had a child. And so I don't feel like it was a brother, but I'm pretty sure Dante is her nephew. So Dante went out, he got married, had his own family. She also has a niece who lives in the house. And Dante and Dahlia are siblings. Dahlia is the niece. For some reason, Sims has them not related at all. And I wanted to reconnect them because Montree is all about family. So we had to connect them. So I had to go in and forge a family line. And I couldn't do it with Dante because his parents have since passed on before they were saved to the gallery. So there was no parents to link. So I had to choose one of his children instead to make them one of my grandchildren. That was my only option. I couldn't make them like a grandniece or something. So to make them one of my grandchildren, I had to kind of forge a family bloodline that Dante was Melissa's child, even though that's her nephew. So the family link is all messed up, but at least they're linked. So that's what the book is for. You find out the little book, you find out your forged bloodlines and all the family secrets that may exist. Tybalt did that. And I was having him do that just for fun, just because it was like nothing else for him to do. And I really didn't think he'd find anything. Cap, 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 cap. He found something. He for sure found something. And it was the wildest thing. And I talked about this before, that as you can see right now, his dad is linked to a woman, clearly his mom. We have no idea who that woman is, right? Because before that, we thought Cordelia Capp was his mother, and he uncovered that that's not his biological mom. Him and Juliet only share a dad, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yes. When you look at Juliet's line, Cordelia and Caliban are both her actual parents, but that's not his mom. So when Tybalt was reborn as an infant, I was like, I'm gonna give him a mom. I'm gonna give him his mom, the mom that is right here and we don't know. So I thought that was really neat to do. And it is really neat. I don't think that. It is really neat. So I put her into the family. And so he lives with his mom. Give me a second. There we go. And her name is Eliana Capp. I thought that was pretty cool. So her name is Eliana Capp. She's ambitious and self-assured, and she's an art lover. Because Tybalt loves to paint, or he loved to paint before he was reborn. So I thought that'd be cool to add that in there. She's self-assured and ambitious. I thought that could be, like, I wanted to make her a mother that clearly created someone like Tybalt. You know what I mean? Even though all that ambitiousness really came from his dad's side. But I mean, she fell for that man. So there had to be some similarities there. So this is mom, and she wears red, and she has red hair, and she's like, she reminds me of, I don't know how to put this, she reminds me of moms from, like a mom from the book Little Women. She reminds me of a mom like that. Like her hair is always like pulled back, but she has very long red hair, but she never wears it down. It's always like pulled back and well kept together. She's well kept. Everything is simple but elegant and sophisticated. You know, she's a mom, but she's not doting necessarily. You know, and she's not like, I'm going for the crown, but she's definitely not a commoner. Like that kind of middle, I don't know how to put it into words, but I know the type when I see it. That's how she is in my head. And so that's how I made her. And so Rocky went there to meet Tybalt, obviously. And when she met him, prior to meeting him, their relationship was this. These Sims feel a peculiar bond with each other, as if their souls want to reunite. Could this strange connection be the start of something more profound? And I thought that was really, really neat. So that was really neat. So that was really neat that that's the connection there. None of the other kids have met Tybalt. I felt like that'd be, I just really didn't think about it. But so that's where Tybalt is right now. He's currently has been reborn. He's an infant living with his mom in Tartosa. Actually, they live in a small house not too far from here, right here. This is where they live. I went in, added a few things to their home, everything that they would need, musical instruments, all that stuff. I don't know if Sims garden on their own if they're not a playing household. No idea. But I added them anyways. Gave them a chessboard, somewhere to play cards, a jungle gym, a family tree on the off chance she wants to go into the nobility, a bike, and all that other stuff, and everything they need for him when he's an infant right now and a toddler later inside the house. Yeah. So did that. I gave the scarecrow as well, to help with the gardening and things like that. So that way, because it bothers me when you talk to Sims, you ask them what hobbies they have, and they have no hobbies because there's nothing in the house for them to gain a hobby with. So I just added some things so they could have likes and dislikes. And now we're on vacation because I'm bored. I got bored once Tybalt moved out. I got bored because what the heck are we focused on? We're just building skills every day. So I'm like, we need to make something shake. So the twins, I want them to become young adults because this whole going to school and doing homework thing is really throwing a hitch in my plans. And I want my youngest to become a teenager, but I want him to complete all four aspirations that he gets first. Just like with Maure. Maure completed all four. My twins completed all four. I want him to complete all four. So I was like, we need to go on vacation because between school and after school programs, we have like no focus. He hasn't even completed his scouts badges yet because there's just always something going on. Like if there's not a holiday, then there's school, then there's after school, and they got to eat and sleep and so on and so forth. And it's just been throwing a hitch in all the focus. So Nikki and Valentina, I've been trying to get their skills up. And you would think swordsmanship, I realize swordsmanship is not a level 10, which it needs to be. They need to be able to defend what it needs to defend. So I got their fitness up and their logic up. But Nikki's fitness is a level 7, but Val's fitness is a level 10 because she did the fitness aspiration. So hers is a level 10. Her swordsmanship just hit a level 10 yesterday. Like just last night, I just did that. So I think that's what all my girls needed. The swordsmanship, they got the logic, we got the cooking and the gourmet, that's down. The handiness I just did. I think Nikki's handiness is still not level 10 yet. No, she's at a level 8. So we're going to work on those skills, right? They've completed maybe, I know a minimum of one aspiration apiece. Nikki completed her painter aspiration. They both have the fortune aspiration, which I don't count as aspiration to complete. And yeah, Nikki has a friend of the world and the neighbor confidant. The friend of the world, I'm like, definitely got to complete because that way your relationships don't fade. They don't fade. And it's really difficult because if you're like me, you socialize a lot, you have a lot of friends, a lot of acquaintances, a lot of good friends, a lot of best friends. And there's periods of your life where you're focusing on other things. And I can just forget about all the friends that I have and maintaining those relationships. So I would appreciate them not diminishing while I'm like somewhere else, like mentally doing something else. So those are Nikki's. I'm gonna have Nikki complete the writing thing. And really, as long as she gets her skills up, they can age up. I'm not attached to the whole that. So Val is working on the ghost historian because I really feel like that's her bag. The fortune thing is completed. Yeah, she did a creative one. She did the musical genius one and the bodybuilder. I'm realizing Val has more aspirations completed because it took a long time. And she also has the freelance botanist completed. And she did the friend of the world, but she didn't do neighborhood confidant. I just don't feel like that's her personality. Nikki is really a socializer for sure. Like they both socialize, but Nikki like loves, like that's like her bubble baby. Like popular, that's her bag. So their skills are pretty good, but they each have like two different skills that I need them to level up here. And that's what we're focusing on this vacation at this point in time. I just gave a birthday to Lumen. Lumen is from one of my families, one of my playing families. Hold on, Rocky knows him. Give me a second. We just passed his birthday, Lumen. I just aced him up to young adult because Lumen is the young man that I want Val to marry. Me and Valerie talked about that. That's who she's gonna marry for sure. Nikki, I was unsure who she was gonna marry, but she fell for Cecilia. So there you have it. So she likes Cecilia. So I did all that to add Cecilia to the family because I told Nikki, Cecilia is not an option as long as she's not in a dynasty. Absolutely not. You can't marry a commoner. Like that's just not gonna work. So I forgot. Cecilia is still a teen, which Nikki is still a teen right now, but Cecilia is still a teen, but I'll go in at some point. and have her happy birthday, even though she's in a household that I don't play, so she should be able to age up on her own. So hopefully she'll age up in the same time frame as my girls. I don't actually have to control that. They got that under control. And so yeah, so Tybalt, well, his name isn't Tybalt, it's Tybalt, actually, Tybalt. I'm gonna have Tab work on his aspirations. Ideally, we can get all four done and the scouts done. We're on vacation right now for 5 days because the second you hit day 5, child, everybody is sad. Everybody's homesick. It doesn't matter how great the house is, how much family is with them. If they're not sad because they miss family, they will be sad that they miss home, which is wild because in real life, I feel like it takes a minimum of like 2 weeks to be away from home for you to miss home. We've been not at home for 5 days, come on. So I feel like I've caught you guys up on everything so far. I did that really fast, faster than I thought I was going to. And so now we're here at the vacation place. And for Mari, oh
Navi
yeah, the Obi thing.
Baimamerkit.
You guys know about the Obi thing. When I moved Obi into the house, because him and Mari were gonna get married, they are the exact same age, and Rocky has an alliance with the Dunrongs. Well, she did until, well, they still have an alliance, but Rocky in her mind, we are not friends with that bloodline. And that's because the mom, Durara, so you guys know that Rocky was with Noelle. Noelle is the dad of both Nikki and Val. They're twins. Noelle is who Rocky fell in love with before she met Tybalt, right? I've talked about that, I think, in passing. I created a household of creatives. I was really excited when the business and hobbies came about because I was like, oh, I could create a whole household of creatives. I think that's really cool. I'm from New York City, so the lofts and arts scene is like, I think that's really neat. So I wanted a household of creatives where each creative had a different medium that they worked in. And so I talked about this before. In this household, there's 3 women and 1 boy. The boy is Noel. Well, man, there's 1 man, Noel. And I've trained them all directly. Rocky is, in fact, a mentor. She mentors a lot of Sims, right? When she's there and she's around them, she'll mentor. When they call and they're like, I want to show you something, they come over, we mentor, so on and so forth. But these specific creatives that are creatives, Rocky took a more hands-on approach. So 2 of them moved in at a time. There's 4 of them. So we did 2 at a time that would move in and we work with them on hands-on stuff, not just their creative skills, but also life skills, being handy, knowing how to cook, all that type of stuff. You don't want to be at home and they set a fire, come to find out they're dead because their cooking skill was so low. We want to avoid stuff like that. So we move them in so they can figure out all that life stuff. The difference between being a teacher and also being someone's mentor. You directly work with that person. And Noel, at some point, it was his turn. He moved in and they both fell for each other. But Rocky was like, no, you're my mentor. You're my mentee. That's inappropriate. But the love was still there. So they fell in love with each other and eventually they started dating. And up until that point, Rocky was like, I'm not getting married. I'm not having kids. I'm just going to focus on my career, my community, building my legacy, so on and so forth. Like building a name for myself, right? Just living my best life as a career girly. That tracks. So but then Noelle, that always happens, right? You meet the person that's supposed to be your person, and you're just like, I couldn't see it before, but now I can see it because I see it when I look at you. And so her and Noelle got together, but then I got the royalty and legacy pack, and I created my own dynasty. I created Rocky's dynasty, and then at that point, I was like, oh, like I became the monarch in Tartosa. I met Gerara one night when I was exploring Ondarion, and me and her became best friends. She became my noble advisor. You know what I mean? And we've been tight ever since. And she said something once in passing, like when you ask your noble advisor for advice, she had mentioned, like, hey, you can keep those secrets close to your vest. You could tell me your secrets are safe with me as long as you don't do anything to rub me the wrong way. We're still good. And in my head, I was like, huh, that doesn't make me feel incredibly safe that there's a possibility you'd out my secret, but I don't see why we'd fall out. So I was really taken aback when we fell out over this. It was like a romantic holiday love day or something like that. And Tybalt, that is who she eventually got married to. She broke up with Noelle first, went after Tybalt, on the wedding night, honeymoon, Rocky got pregnant because even though I was the monarch in Tartosa, when her and Tybalt got married, I had to move to Ondarion because I didn't want to move Tybalt outside of his cap house because that's his house. He's King Cat, so I moved into his house. and I was building a royal house for myself. This is actually the first house that I like built. It was someone else's bones, but then I went in